Peace, family. Alright, this one's gonna be a little different than the last one. This is one I've been meaning to talk about. Okay? People aren't gonna like this shit. This was the first one had to be a little bit of flavor for you guys. Something a little nice, but this one is just gonna come right with it. Peace, peace. Why do we have pets? Right? Why do we have pets? What the F is going on here? We gotta talk about this. We gotta talk about this, and we gotta be open minded about this. We gotta be objective about this whole notion of having pets, man. I'm getting tired of seeing this. Alright? Why do we have pets? Why are people putting dogs on chains and in crates? What's the deal here? So, I've just been noticing that there's this huge trend in my generation, all these generations, stuff like that. Peace, reflection, what's up? What's up? Everyone wants pets, right? Everyone wants to take these wild animals into their crib, and everyone wants to raise them like humans and impose their will on them. Why do we do this, right? Why do we do this? So I've been thinking a lot about this shit because I've just been seeing so many people walking dogs this summertime and seeing all this stuff. People with like raccoon pets with t-shirts on Facebook, and I'm just wondering, why do we have pets? I think we have to sit back and objectively start to look at what we're doing to these wild animals. So, first things first, we all have to sit back and think, if I saw a pet, right? If I see a wild animal in the environment, right? What is it doing, right? It's just roaming all day long. That your pet is doing exactly what it wants to do, right? If it wants to eat, it's going to feed itself. If it wants to lay down and go get water, it wants to go get water, right? So why do we have people oppressing animals on a day-to-day basis, and we call it love, and we call it having a pet, and we make it seem like it's so natural, right? Why do we do this? But then we think the Jungle Book is weird. We can't think the movie The Jungle Book is weird and then we're doing the same things to pets. The Jungle Book was just made to show you how illogical what we're doing is. Like like facts 110%, right? So I just think, like, why are you people dyeing their dog's hair so they look like a giraffe? Just because you don't have knowledge yourself, why are you doing that to your dog? Just because you don't like how you look, why are you doing it to your dog? Right? You can't love yourself organically. Why are you making your dog look all crazy? Right? We gotta start thinking about these things. Because we're at a time now where people are nicer to their dogs than they are other people. Like, you're over here, you pet every single dog you see, but we see a homeless person on the street and you won't even throw him a buck. You won't even give him a meal, right? Like, what are we doing here? Like, we all just need to take a step back and really objectively look at this whole notion of pets, right? Most of our lives are complicated as it is. We can't even figure out how to feed ourselves. We can't even pay our rent. We can't. Exactly. They're slaving pets, taking them from their natural environment and program the pets as slaves. Yes, why are you making the dog sit down when you want to sit? Let the dog sit when it wants to sit. Why are you only feeding the dog? Why are you eating the meals in front of the dog and letting it watch you and you only feed it once a day? Why are you doing this? Why aren't you understanding the code of that dog? Why are you taking puppies away from their mom before they even learn how to be dogs? Right? We gotta learn, like, we just gotta figure these things out because these things don't make sense, right? These things don't make sense. All of us are having problems with money. We're having problems with all these different responsibilities in our lives. We don't have time for this. We don't have time for this. So why you have an animal? Why you bring more complication into your life when your life is already as complicated as it is? Why do you not honor animals, right? Why? How can you say that you love animals, you have a dog, and then you eat meat? You can't do these things. That's what I'm saying. We're coming to a point in society where we're very hypocritical and illogical about things. We want to acknowledge certain things, but we don't want to acknowledge other things, right? People want to say that survival of the fittest is what's real and like all this stuff is going on, but then they don't want to, and like gene play out and all that is real, but then they don't want to acknowledge that they're not meant to eat meat. We're having problems here, right? And we gotta start to chip away at some of this stuff. And what we're doing to animals shows us exactly that we're fucked in our minds. We're oppressive. We're like, we get mad at Donald Trump for how he acts and all that around here, but look at what you're doing to your dog, right? You don't like the police, but look what you do to your animals. Look what we're doing to dogs, right? We don't like what police are doing to us, but look what we do to dogs. It doesn't make sense. You can't logically say you don't like being oppressed if what you're doing is an outward expression of oppression on an animal that has no freaking way of doing anything but just existing. It's just you're its god in a sense. You feed it, you give it all stuff, so it has to abide by your law. Literally, you enslave the dog. You're not allowing the dog, giving the dog dignity, right? Most of us don't even walk their dogs. How long do you walk your dog in a day? Right? How much do you walk your dog in a day? If you read up on your dog and it says, yo, this dog travels 15 miles a day, if you're not letting your dog move 15 miles in a day, then you're doing a disservice to your dog. You're making your dog live against its natural programming. So why do you have a dog? Right? Why do you have a dog? Some people are breeding their dogs, right? Now we're just breeding dogs for money. Now a human life is becoming a source of income. You don't like being oppressed at work. You don't like going to work. You feel like when you go to work that they're treating you like shit at work, right? You feel like when you go to work, people are giving you less money for what you're doing than what you're worth, but you're over here breeding dogs, right? And oppressing a dog. Yo, stop being a hypocrite. Stop being a hypocrite. Understand that we don't need pets right now in society. We don't need pets. There's no notion, there's no thing that tells you right now in society that it's okay to have pets. You can't bring pets into any stores. You can't bring pets around to most places you go. Why do we have pets? Because they're cute. Because they're nice. Because they make me feel loved and fulfilled. Well, if you can't make yourself feel loved and fulfilled on your own, stop using a dog, an animal, all this stuff to make yourself feel fulfilled. Work on the original issue that's there, that you don't feel good about yourself, right? You have some kind of problem going on in here and in here where you can't just be okay with that. You now need an animal. Leave the animals alone. Let the animals stay in the wild. Leave the dogs in the wild. Leave them there, right? There's no logical reason for any person in modern society to have pets as animals. It does, like animals as pets. It doesn't make sense, right? I'm watching videos on Facebook with literal raccoons wearing t-shirts living in people's houses, right? And then what we're feeding the animals isn't even its proper diet. Like, you're feeding the dog like cereal. Like, the dog is eating freaking cereal. If a dog's in the wilderness, it's eating freaking squirrels, it's eating the raccoons, all that stuff. But we're over here feeding the dog kibbles and bits. It's not even its natural diet. We're giving dogs cancer. Dogs are getting cancer. Are there dogs with cancer in the wild? Are there dogs with tumors in the wild? Are there dogs with all these problems in the wild? No, they're not. So you're bringing a dog into your house, taking it out of its natural environment, not letting it be risen to be an actual dog, feeding it poison so that it gets cancer, all this other bullshit, not letting it walk and like live its natural habitat, not letting it live out what the programming of a dog is, and you want to tell me you love animals? Get the F out of town. I've been waiting to do this video because I was just watching people with dogs walk around acting like they're doing something good for society. You're not doing anything good for the dog, right? I could see if you bring your dog out into the wilderness every day and let it hunt its prey, and you let it eat what it's naturally supposed to eat. At least at that point, I can say, okay, you're letting the dog eat what it naturally eats. But when you're feeding the dog kibbles and bits and all this, you're giving it cancer. Dogs are getting cancer, right? People are going to the doctors and their dogs have cancer. Why? Because one, we don't let them be outside enough so that they can get the Earth's telluric energy to help balance and keep themselves in homeostasis, but that's a whole nother thing. If you watch my video on grounding and earthing, it's out on YouTube, you can understand just why the dogs are getting sick as well, just like you're getting sick. But that's another thing. Why are we feeding the dog starch products? Why are we giving the dog sugars and treats and all these different things? Why aren't we just letting the dogs be dogs? Let the dog eat what dogs eat, right? Because we don't even know how to feed ourselves. If we don't even know how to feed ourselves and we're eating bullshit ourselves, don't you think we're going to do the same thing to anything we bring in our lives? Don't you think that we should, if you spend all this money on your dog and you won't adopt a baby in your area, you won't adopt a child, then there's something fucked up. Because you spend about the same amount of money, responsibility, and time on a dog as you do a child, right? But the thing is that we can't really handle any of that, so we shouldn't have it, right? Because a dog's never going to grow up and tell us how bad of parents we were, or how bad and lack of responsibility we really have, right? A dog's a scapegoat, right? So we oppress a dog making a dog sit, making a dog only eat when we want it to eat, go outside when we want it to go outside. It can only go to the bathroom when we allow it to go to the bathroom. Do we ever sit back and just think about these notions, right? Your dog is sitting at the door for like an hour and needs to go outside, but you're too busy watching TV or a movie to like take your dog on a walk, right? So you make it suffer and sit there while it needs to go to the bathroom. Think about what you're doing. Do you need an animal? I know it looks good in pictures. I know that shit, obviously, and when you come in, it's freaking excited as hell. Why are dogs so excited when you come back? Because you're like it's God. Because the only way it eats, sleeps, shits, any of that is on your time. So obviously, they're going to be excited to see you because maybe they can live. They can't live until they see you. An animal can't live until you come around in their presence to allow them to live. Right? So obviously they're going to be excited to see you. Don't mix that false sense of happiness, right? Don't mix that false sense of happiness, right? Get happy on your own before you start worrying about the dogs. Leave the dogs alone. Leave the cats alone. Leave the raccoons alone. Let them stay in the wild. We got a lot more things to figure out before we start taking in animals, right? And feeding them the wrong foods. We're not feeding even animals on their proper diet, right? Dogs shouldn't be eating kibbles and bits. When you look at a dog in nature, is it eating kibbles and bits? So what tells you that it's right to feed your dog kibbles and bits? Nothing. Nothing tells you to keep it's right to feed your dog kibbles and bits. What is in the kibbles and bits? Inside the kibbles and bits are certain chemicals that make your dog docile. It makes it not like a dog. Because if your dog was like a dog, it'd get out and it'd never come back. It'd go out into the wild, right? I have people who are like, oh, I bought this. It's so crazy. I spent all this money on this dog, on my dog, and it ran away and it never came back. No, it didn't run away. It just went home. Your house is not the dog's home. When if your dog runs away and never comes back, just feel happy that it went home. It went to where it's supposed to be. It's not supposed to be up in your crib only walking, going out for walks once a day when you want it to walk. Know that it's probably living a happy life. That dog's probably walking around, laying in a field, just chilling, going to a river, drinking some water, having a great day, right? We got these notions messed up because we want the affection from that dog. We want that dog to show us love because at the end of the day, some of us are having problems showing ourselves love. We need another external thing that shows us appreciation, that shows us like they need us, right? Everyone wants to be needed and wanted, all these different things. And a dog gives you that sense of power and control because it needs you. It's like a baby all the time. Like I say, instead of getting a dog, instead of taking on that responsibility of a dog, take on the responsibility of a baby. There are plenty of babies that need adoption. There are plenty of kids out there that need help. Instead of going for a dog, go take on another human life instead. Do something positive for humans, right? Teach a human something. Help a human being out to have a better future. Because look at what's going on with our pounds. People don't want to see all the pounds in this country are full. They're euthanizing dogs by the thousands, millions on a day-to-day basis. They're euthanizing dogs. Why? Because we keep breeding dogs. We're breeding dogs to make money. We're bringing dogs into this world because we just want them. We think they're cute. There's no real logical reason. We're overpopulating the dog population in this country. Bringing in things that we don't need. Why are we doing this? We have to check this. Again, just like a lot of these things, we got to check this. We can't be out here just bringing dogs in here, not thinking about what we're doing to the dog. It doesn't make sense anymore, right? Check on this. Like, look into this. Think about this. I know some of you guys are going to be mad as hell that I say this about dogs, because everyone loves dogs. I get that. You love dogs. You love all this stuff. It's cool. Okay. But think about it. Why do we have pets? Is it logical to have pets today? Is it really logical to have a pet? Is it really? I know it's cool and it's nice and it might make you feel good, but is it logical to have a pet? And when you can answer me if it's logical to have a pet, then we'll talk, right? Give me some logical explanations why you should have pets. Give me logical explanations. I don't see anyone filling up this box, all this message board over here with reasons why it's good to have a pet. There's no real reason why. Let it be a wild animal. There's no such thing as a pet. You wouldn't want to be a pet. That's what slavery was. You were a pet for someone. No one liked that, right? We didn't like that shit. You didn't like slavery. Slavery wasn't accepted, but that was just people being pets for other people. You see that wasn't a good thing, so why is it okay to do it to an animal now? Why? Because we all feel oppressed. Ooh, yeah, here it goes. Every single one of us is feeling super oppressed in our day-to-day life. We feel like we're oppressed. So what do we want to do? We want to bring it out in something else. It's called displacement. Yes, I went to school for and got a mental health certificate. I know exactly about this stuff. It's called displacement, right? So because it's like when you look at little kids in the schoolyard, the big bully hits the medium-sized kid. He hits him in the head. But the medium-sized kid doesn't want to hit the big bully because he's afraid of him. So he goes to the smaller guy and hits him on the head. That's the problem. That's what we're doing to the dogs. We're getting hit here, but then it makes us feel better. Like, oh, I taught my dog how to roll over. I taught my dog how to... No, let your dog be a dog. Why don't you just go to the pound, right? Go to the pound, take 5 dogs out for adoption, go out to the wilderness, like a real wilderness area, go into Maine or something, and let those dogs free. Let them free. Let them go be in their environment. Let them go live and do their thing. Let them go be dogs. But the problem is that we take the dogs as puppies before they learn how to be dogs, so that they can't even go exist in the wilderness anymore, right? It's a scary thing. Why do we have pets? There's no reason for us to have pets. We have pets out of selfish ego fulfillment. We don't have pets for any good reason. Having pets never did anything for the pet. Having a dog doesn't help lead to a better lifestyle for the dogs. We don't feed them their proper diet. We don't let them go out in their environment as much as they need to be in their environment. We don't even let them act like dogs. We make them act like humans. We make them sit when we want them to sit. We make them do only the things that we want them to do, right? So why do we have pets? But with that being said, that was quick. I know I'm gonna get some hate for this, just for talking about dogs, because I know how people love their pets, but it had to be said. But for the people who understand me and got this, I love you all and I love myself. And for some of you other people, think about it, and then you can get back to me. My inbox is wide open for questions. Have a great day.